Hi. What we're going to do is we're going to finish up the last of your notes. It's those notes that are marked governing in the 20th century. We want to talk a little bit about what it means to live in the 21st century. The 21st century is really about interdependence. And if you look in your notes, it's about a third of the way down. Interdependence simply means the reliance that countries have upon each other. So, for an example, in the area of trade, we all look for the label made in the USA because we want to support American markets. But we also, if we would take a moment and just look at our shoes, right now, take off your shoes, take a look, where were they made? More than likely, not the United States. Because in the area of shoes in particular, they can be made cheaper in other parts of the world. Therefore, we get to purchase them in a cheaper rate. That's interdependence. The interdependence that we have because of technology nowadays, everything from the internet uh, websites that can come from any part of the country. This interdependence is this reliance that we have on each other. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different kinds of nations that they are, and they're actually developed into three areas. As you can see, industrialized, newly developed, and developing nations. Now, I just glanced at your notes and I noticed that I had left off the word developed. So if you can squeeze that in somewhere when we get there, there's also some space at the bottom of your worksheet that maybe that would help a little bit. So let's first talk about the industrialized nations. Most people believe that there are about 20 of these nations, and the characteristics are that they have large industries, advanced technology, and a very comfortable standard of living. In other words, I kind of go with it with the bathroom test. Do the majority, if not all, 95% of that country have an indoor bathroom? If they go to the refrigerator, do they find more than 2 items in the refrigerator? Do they have a refrigerator? Would you find televisions in more than one room in the house? Would you find advanced technology such as computers, um, telephones, computerized missiles? Is their standard of living comfortable? Now, a newly developed country would be a country that is just getting their feet underneath them. Think of them as some. Some areas of their country have industry. Some areas of their country have advanced technology. And so you have this extreme where you have some that are doing very well and some that are not. And as you can see, I wrote in some countries that would be considered developed countries. Countries like Russia, Argentina, Mexico, South Korea, China, and maybe even Brazil. Brazil is one of those that's kind of on the border. It could be considered an industrialized nation or a developed nation. The Olympics looks at that kind of thing. And if there is a city or a country that could really use the boost from having all of the eyes on their country, it would help them economically. A lot of times they will choose a developed country, newly developed, in order to help them out financially. But 2/3 of the world is actually developing. These are the countries that you see on television that are asking for us to send them aid. They have struggling industries, starvation, disease, war, little to no technology. And if they did not have the help of the other two, they would not survive at all. So in what ways are they interdependent? Well, the industrialized or developed, the industrialized nations, they offer the trade, the support, the economic advice, the social aid. So we have that to give. And the interdependent works with them to offer help. And it all boils down to They just plain need the help. So these groups are really about helping this group. Okay. Well, the next thing on your notes is what is called a non-state entity. A non-state organization means just that it does not have one of the four qualities. So why talk about them at all? Well, these non-state organizations can really change the world. They can be political organizations like the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or what we've seen lately in the news, ISIS, Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Assad. Assad is through Israel. These are all political organizations, notice the green, and they don't have the qualities of a state. They're not a country. They don't have territory in many cases. Some people would question whether they have sovereignty, but yet they can impact the world. Now, multinational companies, as portrayed in purple here, have a huge impact on our country. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Citigroup. These companies can literally make or break a country if they decide to go in or leave that country in terms of the economy. And international organizations are organizations that work together to benefit the entire world, like the United Nations, what is referred to as the G20. The G20 are the 20 industrialized nations that we mentioned before. And Interpol, which we know Interpol from every crime show. Interpol is the international police organization that tries to track down criminals that are have fled to other countries. Interpol has a top 10 most wanted, just like the FBI does. The last little bit I want to talk about is what is politics. Okay? Politics is an effort to control or influence the policies of government. Politics are what we see happening on the news right now. The key here is to control and influence the government. So when I write my congressman about being unhappy with a decision that he may or may not have made concerning education, I am trying to influence the government. Okay? I am participating in politics. Why do people want to influence the government? It might be because they're seeking government benefits. You might be asking to influence the government so you get something out of it. Maybe you're a military contractor. Maybe you're supporting Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton in hopes that they might give you a job if they become president. Or maybe you're supporting Gary Johnson because if he gets elected, maybe you can become his Joint Chiefs of Staff, or he will make you his Secretary of State. Another reason that you control it is through politics that conflicts in society are managed. This is the way we maintain social order. In the area of Kaepernick, he is dealing with the conflict of Black Lives Matter by refusing to stand during the national anthem. And we discussed in class that maybe he should use the actual influencing the government to make his point known. And finally, promote the general welfare to make sure that no one is favoring one interest group or the other. So when you start seeing people getting ahead, not because they have good ideas, but because they have they've used their politics, we want to make sure that that all people can be heard. For the last question, that is NAFTA, what I would like you to do is go to your book and find the answer for that. That is the last of the information that we're going to study for Chapter 1, Section 2 or 3. There's a lot of important information here. Hopefully you got all of your notes done.